Hello everyone. This is my EWOT system, my exercise with oxygen therapy system, and this is my personal one that I built and set up in my home to use for myself and my family. And it's super simple to build one of these for yourself and use at home. You don't need to spend $2,000 and $3,000 to buy a special EWOT system if you don't want to. If money is, finances are tight like they are for me typically, it made a lot more sense for me to build my own system. So this is my home personal EWOT system, and I'll explain how I put it together and why I chose the components I did. So first of all, the biggest thing here in the picture is this is an inflatable mattress, like you would use if you had a guest coming over to stay. And I'm hanging it from a little stand, from a tripod, 2 tripods, but you can hang it from anywhere. You just need to be able to, a lot of people hang it from the ceiling, flat, horizontally, above their exercise equipment. So it's completely out of the way and it's just hanging from the ceiling. And for this video, I have it set up right here so you guys can see it. But normally I would hang it above my head so it's out of the way. The reason I chose an inflatable mattress, this particular inflatable mattress, as my oxygen concentration reservoir, so the reservoir to hold the concentrated oxygen, is because this one is made out of a TPU lined polyvinyl. And most oxygen reservoir bags that are used for EWOT have this particular plastic. That's what they're made out of, this plastic, because they don't off-gas chemicals that cause a smell or impart a smell to the oxygen. And that's why I bought this one. The oxygen reservoir bags are typically very expensive, several $100s. I think the cheapest I've seen is $300, but this one right here was only $40 to $45, this mattress. So you can get the same thing if you're just creative about what you use for your bag. Another oxygen reservoir bag that people typically use is a mattress cover, a waterproof mattress cover from Walmart. And this is like a queen size, not the box spring, but the mattress itself. You can get a really deep plastic bag that you put the entire mattress in, and it's waterproof and has a zipper. And those work fantastic as oxygen reservoir bags, but they are not TPU lined polyvinyl. So some people say they might off-gas and that may cause problems. That's never been proved. The people I know who've used it say that they just let it off-gas outside for a while. So they just hang it up over a railing at their house or on their porch and let it off-gas for a week or so, and they put it inside out and let it air out again, and then they use it and they don't smell any plastic. But that's up to you. I used a TPU lined polyvinyl air mattress because it's the same material as used by the very expensive $300 bags that are used for EWOT systems. Okay, so the next component of the system, once you have your oxygen reservoir bag, is how do you make the concentrated oxygen? So this right here is a typical refurbished oxygen concentrator. You can use any oxygen concentrator. I bought a refurbished one because you can get them a lot less expensive that way. During COVID, even the refurbished ones became very hard to find, and you had to get on a waiting list, so that caused some complications. But if you buy a new one, you can get it very quickly. They're about $600, $700, depending on the oxygen concentrator you get. This one is used, this exact brand is used for a lot of systems, EWOT systems. So I just got the one that's typically used. You have to make sure you have a hose, and so you have to buy an oxygen hose. You can buy them on Amazon, and then I used the end of I modified it with a little Y thing, or a little right angle degree piece that I bought online for CPAP machines, and then I put a CPAP hose end on it. So I sort of made my own little jerry-rigged attachment. And then what you do is you turn the oxygen concentrator on, and it will take air from the environment, and it will exit this at between 94 and 96, 97%. Usually most oxygen concentrators do 96% oxygen is what they create, and they create it from the air around you. They just concentrate the oxygen around you, so you don't need to buy oxygen tanks and have them filled or anything like that. So you turn on your oxygen tank. Makes a beeping noise at first, and then you hear like a motor, a pump, and now it's creating oxygen. And it takes a while. It's not really quick. I can't remember how many liters per minute this one creates, but it's not fast enough to breathe directly out of. That's why you have a reservoir, is because when you're exercising, you're going to breathe more than this can create. And so then you take your attachment and you attach it to your air mattress. And then after about, for this one it takes about 35-40 minutes for it to fill up to about this full. And some people use two. If they're going to exercise longer, they'll have two mattresses hanging up and they'll fill up two of them. And you can do it hours in advance. You can fill it up with oxygen, and then you just put the cap back on as quickly as you can, and then it's ready to go for when you want to exercise. So once your mattress or your concentrated air reservoir is full, then you're ready to exercise. So you can use almost anything to exercise. My favorite is rebounding because it's been shown through studies to be extremely effective at creating a cardiovascular effect quickly. So if you're only going to exercise and breathe concentrated oxygen for 10 to 15 minutes, this is a really great way to go, especially if you're an athlete. But you can also, the difficulty with doing rebounding is that the hoses want to fall out. So let me show you the mask. So when you're ready to exercise, you have to don your mask. So let me talk about the mask for a little while. This mask right here I made, and it's just a 3M filter mask that you would use if you were painting or using a chemical. You can buy them at Home Depot and Lowe's, and then you buy cartridges that click onto the side. You sort of do this little half turn and they click onto the side. You don't need the cartridges in this case, you just need the mask. The mask is usually around $22. This is a small medium, and then they have a large extra large, so there's usually two sizes. And then what happens is there's a little keyed feature that the cartridges click onto to attach. You have to use a file or a Dremel tool if you have it, but or some snips, and you have to cut the little keys off. So that took me probably 30 minutes to modify this mask and to file off the key feature. It's a little piece of plastic. And once you file that off, you have a nice smooth edge right here, and then you can use a normal CPAP hose. And if you don't know what a CPAP is, it's hoses that people use for pressurized oxygen when they're sleeping, pressurized air so they can sleep for sleep apnea. And so CPAP hoses are very common, and like I bought these two, I think they're 18-inch hoses online. It's very inexpensive. And then I bought a 6-foot hose online, CPAP hose. And it's a soft rubber end, so it fits conveniently, perfectly on the size of the 3M mask. So you put it in pretty good, and you put this one in and make sure it's in pretty good. And I ordered this Y valve right here, so that way I could breathe more oxygen faster while I'm exercising. So a lot of athletes get a dual hose mask. And dual hose masks are very expensive for EWOT systems. I've seen them run as high as $260. Well, this morning I looked to see what the latest price of the least expensive dual hose mask is $110. So you can get them as low as $110, but I didn't even like that one for various reasons. So this one is fantastic. So if you're gonna really exercise hard, then you're gonna want a dual hose mask, and you could make one for $30. This was $30. Or you can buy one, for $260. It's up to you. But this allows you to breathe more volume if you're going to be exercising hard. So that's why you want two hoses. But a lot of them have one hose right in the middle. That works too. One hose is fine. You don't need two hoses for a lot of people. Now, for rebounding, if I decide to rebound, the hose goes up and down, and so you'll have to have a bungee cord or something to try to hold it so that way it doesn't get in your way. So that's the disadvantage of using a rebounder when you do your exercise. So most people like to walk on a treadmill, or hold on a second, or they like to use a recumbent bicycle. So let me show you this. So once you have your reservoir filled, you have to don your mask first so you're not fiddling around with it, okay? Then once the mask is already on your head, then you come over and you can disconnect, unscrew the thing, the cap, and then insert the hose. So you're not wasting any oxygen. If you put this in first and then you're fiddling around with your mask, all the oxygen's just coming out of your mask and you're wasting a lot of this oxygen. So always put your mask on first and then insert your hose. Once your hose is inserted, make sure you buy a long enough hose that it'll reach from your reservoir to your exercise device. So in this case, if I'm demonstrating here, recumbents are nice because you don't have to, the hose is not bouncing up and down. So like your head is in one spot and there's no bouncing, and so a lot of people find that a lot easier to exercise with. And then the other option is treadmills or ellipticals work really well too. And you can, a lot of people, at times I've seen the hose being sort of taped or bundled somehow to get it out of the way on the railing of the treadmill. So it's like, looped over the treadmill. So you'll have to worry about hose management a little bit, but it's not that big a deal. I found it's pretty easy to manage, especially if your head is still. And then the idea is for, at least for adjunctive cancer treatments and for cancer prevention, is also for athletic recovery. 10 to 15 minutes works great. I know some athletes go as long as 30 minutes, but that's pretty rare. Usually 15 minutes is the sweet spot. So you just exercise where you're breathing hard for 15 minutes, and it will help considerably to hyperoxygenate your tissues. But I will talk about that, the details of the physiology, in another lecture. So setting up your EWOT system, this one cost about $100. So that was the mattress, the hoses, the mask, this little Y right here, and this hose right here as well, right? So all of that cost about $100, and then plus the cost of whatever concentrator you get, which can range anywhere from $300 for a refurbished one all the way up to $900. And so you can spend a lot of money or a little. So my system, the whole thing, was very inexpensive, setting it up the way you see here. All right, thank you very much.